Hello, my name is Sam Beverly, and today I will be doing my project on the Institute Food and Development Policy, better known as Food First, a nonprofit organization based out of Oakland, California, that was created in 1975. The missions and goals of Food First. Food First was founded by Francis Moore Lappy and Joseph Collins. The mission of Food First is to end the food injustices that cause hunger. The major goals of Food First is for all people to have access to healthy, ecologically produced, and culturally appropriate food. The thesis that I have for Food First is that the Institute for Food and Development Policy is an effective organization that fights to end injustices that cause hunger, and their projects help promote awareness on food system policies. With proper funding and improvement in advertisement, the organization could be more effective. Some issues that I see with Food First is that the change in the national narrative on food waste. Food waste is not really a big major problem when it comes to while the country would see as important groups. It doesn't affect as many people as it would for it to have national attention. And when you're trying to publish articles, a lot of times the people that work with Food First, they're really not on frontline communities, so they really don't know too much about frontline communities. So a lot of their articles are not dealt with the food line communities, the frontline communities. And then also there's racism in the food system. As stated before, poverty affects more African American and Hispanic groups more than it does Caucasian groups. So there's a lot of racism in the food system because a lot of the food system policies um, are negative towards the minority groups. And also, when you're trying to bring food, farm, and climate movements together, especially when talking about the new Green Deal, is it takes a lot of work, which sometimes can lead to issues because all of these groups sometimes don't want to work together. Constituents: family farms, indigenous people, gardeners, food activists, and academics. The first, the Food First researchers teach courses and seminars and give talks. They lead workshops and participate in public discussions in university classrooms, international conferences, farms, and community centers. As you can see in the left corner, we have Rob Greenfield. A couple weeks ago, we watched a video about Rob Greenfield and how he became a food activist and how he grew his own food for a whole year, which people like him are the people that Food First works with so that they can, try to get better policies as far as the food systems. Funding and financial support. Um, for expenses, the total expenses for Food First in the year of 2018, in the year 2018, the the funding and financial support, the expense total was 813,393. Uh, that comes from the membership and development, the administrative, and the research for the publications and the outreach. So that is really expensive as far as towards their revenue because they don't make as much revenue as they do in expenses, which is a major problem. Most of their revenue comes from speaking engagements, contracts, royalties, interests, and books, grants, and donations. The strengths of the Food First is that they offer a policy analysis on poverty, agricultural, and development. They also are good at critiquing policies implemented by the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. They are also good at creating books and articles that are very informative. Some challenges they deal with, like I talked about before, racism and other forms of oppression in the food system, and just in the food movement itself, are really difficult when it comes to food first, and basically just dealing with the injustices in the food system. Ecology continues to be dismissed by mainstream agricultural development institutions because it does not fit well with the high internal input model of the industrial agriculture, the channels, the wealth, and the agro ecosystem to farmers rather than global agribusiness corporations. And also, when transforming food and policy issues, it's a major challenge because a lot of times the people that have the power don't really see the need to change these policies, and they also want to keep the money because money makes the world go around. So the money is a major part, and if they have their money, then they're not really worried about other things because they're not going to be worried until it affects them. And right now, it's just making them money. The food system is just making them money. So they don't really need to see a way to change it or see the need to change it. Sustainability. The organization is sustainable because analyzing food systems will always remain relevant because there's the food systems will always have an impact on how we live and how we go throughout each day as far as eating and all of that. So, and then also there are voices in the people in the community that want to have better policies for food systems, and they need their voices amplified. So groups like Food First are help amplifying their voices. Also in the food sovereignty movement, Food First is one of the organizations that have projects that deal with the food sovereignty movement. And also Food First advances ecological, which is the science of sustainable agriculture. Special recommendations. Social media. If Food First was to increase social media following, then their content and their message would get out there more. On Instagram, which is one of the major social media platforms in the world, they only have 223 followers. That's not a lot of people that get to see the post. And a lot of times, social media Instagram is what's going to promote the most because more people are on Instagram and they get to see the pictures, and you get to see the different images, and you also can post videos on there as you can Facebook. But a lot of times Instagram is really, really popular. Though they do have almost 19,000 followers on Twitter, a lot of the tweets are not really pictures, so they really don't see what's going on. They can just read the articles, but if they can do both, then it would be better. And also on Facebook, they have 11,000 followers, which isn't bad, but if the numbers were to increase, they would be more effective. Also, they need to have more book signings. As you can see in the revenue, they only 1% of their revenue came from their book signings. These books are really informational, and so if they were to get these books out more and have more book signings and have more people read these books, then I think their point would get across more. And also they need, because they're based out of Oakland, California, if they go to the East Coast and try to get more people on the East Coast to support their cause, then it would be more on a national level more than a Western and regional level. Also, they have to generate more funding for research on policies dealing with the food systems. There's always going to be more research because people need to see why the food system is messed up, and a lot of times they don't really get to see why the food system is messed up because it doesn't really affect them. So if they get more funding for the research, then they can show people why it's messed up. They also have like online courses and classes on how to help the cause of food injustice. Right now that we're going through a pandemic, online courses and online classes, they could be produced by the website. They could even hire somebody to do these courses on the website, and they could just give more people more information, and they can just learn more about food injustice. And maybe, who knows, it might just go to the right person, which would make it better. And also, they need to educate more local food markets and local farmer markets on how injustice affects them, because they are a major part, and they can contribute a lot to, healthy food and food security. Justification. Food first is a very important fight against the food injustices, because they have a lot of information that they can show people. And by their different projects and information sessions, they're very informative, and they can help small activists amplify their voices that really need to be heard. And in a summary, just some more recommendations. They can like I said before, they can research how local farmer markets and food markets are essential to the fight against food injustice. When they get to these social media platforms to get more followers, they need to post relatable content, such as TikToks about how food injustices are important, do popular dances and stuff in different places that could, like, help and pop out and make their cause more. Even if they do it in, like, their own center, even if they do these type of things in their own center, it would just give them more attention, because it only takes one video for them to go viral and more people see their cause. Also, there are grant applications. Some places that I found out were grants.gov, or grant watch, or even in California there's californiafund.org. Also, I recommend that they sign up for small expos in California. A couple expos that I found: the Small Business Expo, the Oddities Flea Market, and the Gold Future Expos. And if they try to get more volunteers in different states, then it will also spread their message. Um, Thank you, and this is all that I have for today.